dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Howdy, Nevada Badger. Oh man, I'll tell you, it's been kind of crazy watching all this unfold in the Middle East. I did a little looking, and indeed, there is a lot of movement going on. And when I say that, I'm not talking about Israel. I'm not even talking about the United States. No, I'm talking about the other side. There is a lot of movement. From my understanding, it's not just movement of militants, if you will, but lots of movement of equipment, lots of movement of supplies. I have a sneaky suspicion that sometime real soon we're going to be seeing some pretty massive strikes, not in Gaza, but it's going to be in other areas where people are, whether they're putting supplies there or what have you, in support of Hamas. I have a feeling you're going to see, and there's already been some airstrikes. There were some airstrikes, I believe, in Syria. I think you're going to see it ramp up. And, I kept looking at the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. It could spin up. Thought about China, Taiwan, which actually makes me a little more nervous than Russia. And, it's kind of one of those things you see the different things being done by the different countries, like the U.S. working with Australia for the nuclear, submarines, I guess. And then, the whole AUKUS pact. There was definitely a lot of posturing going on. However, this thing with Israel just kind of came out of nowhere. And the more and more I think about it, this one concerns me. There is a lot of support for the Palestinians. A lot. There are entire blocks of nations coming out and saying that, not necessarily that they support Hamas or, any of the acts that's gone on, but that they support a two-state solution, which, of course, is an absolute no-go as far as Israel is concerned. However, folks seem to be pretty set on this two-state solution idea. I get it, and I'll be real frank, I'm in the same boat. I think it's ridiculous what has gone on since 1948, and it's just ridiculous. It needs to stop. That's the only thing that makes any sense. A two-state solution. Israel needs their nukes removed, and they need to get in line with everybody else instead of being put at the top. That's a bunch of horse shit. Pardon the language. Be hard pressed to find someone more spiritual than I am. Believe me, Father's not good with what's going on. It hasn't been good with what's going on. I do think that we're going to start seeing some pretty massive strikes, and again, outside of Gaza, because I think they're going to be trying to prevent much of a buildup. I don't know if they'll succeed on that, and the reason I say that, hang on. Let me manage to get this to my computer here. There we go. Beautimous. This just came in and I wanted to nab it. Wanted to nab it real quick. Hang on, let me share it too. Where's the... Oh. Looking for the birdie, and it's an X. Okay. Let me pause that video. So, there's quite a bit of craziness going on. Now, the one place that I do think that they're kind of overplaying their fear, and I really hope I'm not just naive. I don't think I'm naive, though. And that's all the fear-mongering going on once again, as far as the United States is concerned, and there being attacks here, and, you know, I just, I don't know. We're going to start off with that, and I'm going to make it kind of, I've got 6 tabs open here. One of them I just added. And then I'm going to cover the headlines from last night and today. So I'm not going to go all the way back till Friday. I'm tired. And I've been fighting with numbers and in and out of software for the last 2 days, like nonstop. And I'm tired. I've been playing. I've been doing performance mods for aircraft, and when I get into it, I get into it. And so I wanted to do a performance mod, a realistic performance mod for the TBM 850, and I did so. And that thing is a dream to fly. But that took a lot of noggin work to get it to fly right. So now I'm working with a little light sport aircraft, a little bitty sucker, 2-seater. And yeah, we're going to make it do, and it's a prop plane, it's not a jet. We're going to make it do, you know, beyond Mach speed, and at least, you know, at least be able to kiss that Mach speed number and be able to do it in a hurry. And at the same time, be able to come in with the aircraft at about 40 mile an hour or so and land it in like 150 feet of space. Yeah, that's what we need. We need an aircraft that can launch in 150 feet of space and it can land in 150 feet of space. That's doable. Not maybe in real life, but it is in the sim, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. But I spent a lot of time with that TBM file because that thing's a work of art, and I want to keep it a work of art. Anyway, been working on the interior of it. I've got the interior mostly done. It's sweet. She'll do just, you know, right around 330, 340 knots at a high-end cruise. Let's see. Alright, let me switch. Oops. Let me knock my phone over. My kickstand isn't too kicky. Alright. Let's see. FBI director warns of Hamas copycat threat. And this is what I was referring to. I really do think they're probably overplaying this. And again, I hope it's just not naivete. But I don't think it is. We'll see. I expected at some point not necessarily because of what's going on over in Israel and Palestine, but also, and mostly, I think it's coming because of stuff right here. I think there's a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of different agendas that's about to be shoved, and I mean with every bit of their might is about to be shoved at us. This is what I see on the political landscape, and people can take all their this candidate, that candidate nonsense and throw it out the window. This is what I see in the political landscape. The powers that be know. Believe me, the powers that be know that especially the silent majority, is about done being silent. And they've done a really good job of keeping that silent majority silent up to this point. But I don't think it's going to take too much more pushing. I don't think it's going to take too much more stretching, because everybody's stretched so thin at this point it's unreal. And I think it's going to continue to be so. I think we're going to see the energy prices go through the roof. I guarantee it. I mean, especially if this, does keep going and gets involved. Yeah, and I do believe it's going. I mean, they're already looking at this as likely to be a long-term event. So that's the word coming from Israel and others. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. There are so many wild cards with just that situation alone, and they are some hellacious wild cards, I'll tell you that. So anyway, FBI director warning of this. The article says Americans face a heightened threat from lone wolf terrorists inspired to replicate aspects of Hamas' recent assault on Israel on U.S. soil. FBI Director Christopher Wray told an audience of law enforcement officers at the International Association of Chiefs of Police annual conference in San Diego on Saturday. Well, there's a whole bunch wrong in that first paragraph. For one, it was the International Association Chiefs of Police annual conference. Two, it was in San Diego. And, I mean, did the officers step around the human waste on the sidewalk as they went into the building? Or or did they hold the whole event in Tent City? I just wondered. But anyway, yeah, I think what this is an attempt to basically put law enforcement on an even higher edge than they have been. And I think we're going to see a lot of stuff go really kind of sideways. Like, for instance, here, this quote, history has been witness to anti-Semitic and other forms of violent extremism for too long, the FBI director continued, vowing to continue confronting those threats. So, is some of those threats is people just having a differing opinion? Because there's like a ton of people sitting in jail right now, largely because they had a differing opinion and they decided to walk through the Capitol building like they were taking a tour. And they're behind bars and been behind bars since. So, those kind of threats, folks, I'll tell you what, they're going to be making a push. And they're going to be coming up with any reason. And I don't think it's going to much damn matter what side of the aisle you pray to. I don't think it's going to matter. I think that they're going to be laser focused on as many as they can, left and right. This is a game. This is not what it appears to be. I'm not necessarily talking what's going on with Israel with that comment. I'm talking about what's going on right here. This is the article that just came out as I was starting to talk. Gaza border crossing set to reopen as Israeli troops prepare ground assault. So I don't know if there's, is saying that they've got any more info. Well, it says latest developments. Let's find out. It says here an Egyptian-controlled border crossing into Gaza is expected to reopen amid diplomatic efforts to get aid into the Hamas-controlled strip that has been under intense Israeli bombing since the group's rampage that killed 13,000 people on October 7th. Shocked by the assault on towns and villages, Israel is carrying out the most intense bombardment Gaza has ever seen, has imposed a strict blockade, and is preparing a ground invasion. Hundreds of metric tons of aid from several countries have been held up in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula for days pending a deal for safe delivery to Gaza and the evacuation of some foreign passport holders through the Rafah crossing. Rafah will be reopened. We're putting in place the United Nations, with Egypt, with Israel, with others, a mechanism by which to get the assistance in and to get it to people who need it, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said after a meeting with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday. Now, check this out. I want you to think about this. If they are worrying about getting humanitarian supplies in, that can only mean one thing. That there is a large amount of people, and I've seen tons of numbers, including 2.1, 2.3 million people. I don't know. We'll say 2 million people. That's a lot of damn people. And so, if they're intending to get humanitarian supplies in there, then I don't think that they're expecting the mass majority to be coming out of there. And if the mass majority isn't going to come out of there, and Israel intends on exterminating anything that moves, that's not gonna go well. Honestly, I think things are gonna go sideways real damn quick when they start the ground invasion. We'll see. But I think that's gonna be the trigger point. That's going to be the flashpoint. I think that there's been enough time already for preparations, and I think that with them delaying the ground invasion, that's going to give much more time for preparation, and I'm talking about from the other side. I have a feeling it's not going to be a pretty sight when it starts. For either side. For either side. Continue and see what it's got to say. Said Blinken did not give a specific time for the crossing to reopen. Veteran U.S. diplomat David Satterfield, appointed on Sunday as a special envoy for Middle East humanitarian issues, will arrive in Egypt on Monday to work out the details, Blinken said. NBC News, citing a Palestinian official, reported the Rafah border crossing would open at 9 a.m. on Monday, citing a security source. ABC News reported the crossing would open for a few hours on Monday without providing details. Reuters was not immediately able to confirm either report. Israel has urged exhausted Gazans to evacuate south, which hundreds of thousands have already done in the besieged enclave that is home to more than 2 million people. Hamas, which runs Gaza, has told people to ignore Israel's message. Reserves of fuel at all hospitals across the Gaza Strip are expected to last only around 24 more hours, putting thousands of patients at risk. The United Nations Humanitarian Office said on Monday. Authorities in Gaza said at least 2,670 people had so far been killed by Israel's retaliatory strikes, a quarter of them children, and nearly 10,000 wounded. Another 1,000 people were missing and believed to be under rubble. U.S. government officials say they are mobilizing to help alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, anticipating a brutal ground offensive. President Joe Biden has urged Israel to follow the laws of war in its response to the Hamas attacks, and on Sunday said in a post on social media that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas' appalling attacks and are suffering as a result of them. Washington is also focused on avoiding a spillover of the conflict, especially with clashes with Lebanon escalating on Israel's border. Now, I do want to say one thing. There are a lot of people, and I just don't understand this. I can't understand how, I don't know. I don't understand how somebody can so easily write off people's lives, especially groups of people's lives. And there are a lot of people that have the attitude out there that, so what? Let them take out the Palestinians. Yeah, that ain't cool. That ain't cool at all. Let me flip the script. That would be like a country coming into the United States and just exterminating us, wiping us out, because they didn't like what our military did. There is no difference. There is no difference. Also, I would like to remind people it is the same ideal. If you just imagine right now, let's say you sat in your home, on your property, bought and paid for, lock, stock, and barrel, and next thing you know, you got a bunch of men in suits making a bunch of decisions, and you don't own that property anymore. Nobody that lives anywhere around had any say in any of it. But yet everybody lost their property because a bunch of rich men in suits decided so. That ain't cool either. And if that were to happen to us, we would be raising hell. We would be doing the same thing. I keep hearing people say all the time when it comes to refugees and stuff like that is, stay and fight, stay and fight, stay and fight. And then when people stay and fight, guess what they do? They condemn them for it. It's ridiculous. The American mindset is ridiculous. It's an absolute not in my backyard mindset. And I don't get it. One of the things that I do to keep myself grounded is I constantly flip that script. Anything I can think of, I flip the script. I think of how would I like that to happen to me before I open my mouth and words spill out. I think. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of nasty times ahead for a lot of people. I really do. Pretty much the planet. Anyway, let's see. I don't know if there's really anything else. I don't think I see anything. This here says ground offensive expected. Let's see what they say here. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has convened Israel's expanded emergency cabinet on Sunday, including former opposition lawmakers, in a show of unity. Hamas thought we would be demolished. It is we who will demolish Hamas, he said. one of the things, too, is a lot of the diarrhea of the mouth. And this is part of it. Especially so referring to them referring to Palestinians as filthy animals. I do want to take this moment to remind folks that if you are not Jewish, you are a filthy animal. That is how it is. I'm not saying that. That doesn't come from me. You're a child from the Father. You're most certainly just as special as I am. However, not everyone feels that way. And we are goyim. People need to remember that before giving their blind, undying support. We're filthy animals too. Just want to make a point of that. I don't play much with this subject. I don't. Because I've read the book. I know what it says. I know who it says to trust. I know who it says will deceive. And I know it says that the masses will be deceived. You start putting all those little puzzle pieces together and you figure stuff out. Anyway, I had mentioned earlier about Palestinians getting backing. I don't necessarily want to say Hamas getting backing, but Palestinians. Because there is a big difference. EU here, it says, reveals its position on Israel-Gaza war. It says the EU has condemned Hamas and ordered the militant group to release Israeli hostages without preconditions, affirming support for Israel's right to self-defense within the confines of international law in a statement released by the European Council on Sunday. Affirming the EU's commitment to a lasting and sustainable peace based on the two-state solution through reinvigorated efforts in the Middle East peace process, the statement called for continued engagement, legitimate Palestinian authorities, and their regional and international partners. The Council members described humanitarian aid to civilians in Gaza as critical for preventing further escalation of hostilities, while reiterating that there was no justification for terror. All civilians must be protected at all times in line with international humanitarian law, the statement read. The EU was ready to continue supporting those civilians most in need in Gaza in coordination with partners, so long as it could be ensured that such support was not abused by terrorist organizations, it said. The European Commission on Monday pledged to urgently review development aid to the Palestinian territories to make sure none of the funds are being misused, walking back a statement issued less than 6 hours earlier by EU Commissioner Oliver Varhelyi that all aid to Palestine would immediately be suspended. Immediately following Hamas' surprise, this is going to go back into the history. Let's see. Okay, so they did, I guess, previously when they made a statement, they didn't say anything about the two-state solution, but they made to. They made sure to. Now, this is one that ought to raise a few more eyebrows than that last one. Now, mind you, I completely suspected this. Injustice against Palestinians cannot continue, says China. Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that China will continue to stand on the side of international law, peace, and justice, condemning all acts of violence against civilians in Israel's war with Hamas. The unprecedented militant raid claimed over 1,400 lives in Israel and prompted it to declare war, with hundreds of Palestinians now dying every day in retaliatory strikes on Gaza. China condemns all acts that harm civilians and opposes any violation of international law, China's top diplomat said as he met with the EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell in Beijing on Friday. Wang Yi said that the humanitarian situation in Gaza is rapidly deteriorating and already critical. However, China's top diplomat insisted that the root cause of this question lies in the long delay in realizing the dream of an independent state of Palestine and the failure to redress the historical injustice suffered by the Palestinian people. Now, I just really have to point one thing out here. Aren't they being a little bit hypocritical? Taiwan, anybody? Just wondering. I mean, because they're prepping to go on the SmackDown. So how is that different than Israel and Palestine? I'm just curious. I'm sure I won't get an answer. Iran warns Israel of regional earthquake, and I thought, well, this is the thing that I am concerned with. See, here's the deal. There's probably billions of people on this planet that don't believe Iran has a nuclear device. I ain't one of them. I think they've had nuclear capability for some time now. I don't think it's anything new. There is pretty obvious evidence that they've got at least some level of hypersonic capability at this point. They've got... Man, Iran is a frickin' hornet's nest. It's a frickin' hornet's nest. I'm telling you. Because, see, here's the thing. The United States wastes a lot of money. I mean, we waste so much damn money, it's unreal. If we didn't have that level of greed by that many people, because that's a lot of damn bloat. Iran doesn't have that bloat. Period. And so every dime that they put towards their defense goes towards their defense, not towards somebody's fifth yacht. When you do that, as Russia has done and as China has done for the last 2-3 decades, you build yourself up one hell of a military force. Now, during that period of time, they were wasting a bunch of money in the Middle East, left with our tail between our legs, and now I guess we're going to take on the world. I guess. But one thing I don't think people really give the credit, and that's Iran's capability. I don't think people give that even close to enough credit. They've got short and medium range weapons that no one on this planet can match. That's where they put most of their eggs, with short and mid-range weapons. Yeah, they've got ballistic stuff, but they didn't put a focus on that because they're really not interested in reaching out and touching anyone. They just want left alone. Yeah, it's another odd way that I think. I think that individual nations should be sovereign, and the United States should leave them the hell alone. that. I know, a noble thought. Our founders felt that way. I do too. None of our damn business what Iran does, as long as they're not harming innocent people. Then, and only then, should we bother with it. Oh, but they will, they'll do this, they'll do... Because somebody said that? That's nice. I'm so sick of he said, she said. How much he said, she said has there been since this whole conflict started with Israel and Hamas? It's been non-stop, he said, she said. And it usually is, but I mean, it's been extra thick. It's been extra thick. I mean, we're going back to the 90s thick. Babies being ripped out of incubators thick. But anyway, Iran ain't kidding. They aren't. And I'm concerned. I am pretty concerned. Howdy, Northeast Slingshot. I am concerned that that they're going to get a good one in on Israel. That is probably my biggest concern, because I certainly think they're capable. Man, yeah, this could get stupid quick. And, you know, of course, I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot of people out there that you know, look at that scripture that talks about Damascus being wiped out. And I think a whole lot of us that do pay close attention to that part of scripture are watching very closely. I'm one of them. I know Monkey Works is another. I'm concerned about this. Let's see what this has to say. It says Iranian Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdallahian has urged Israel to end its airstrikes on Gaza, warning that the conflict with Hamas could spread across the region. I put the quickly word in there somehow. If Israel sends ground forces in the enclave and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah enters the fray. I know about the scenarios that Hezbollah has put in place, Amir Abdallahian said in a briefing with reporters in Beirut on Saturday. Any step the resistance will take will cause a huge earthquake for Israel. According to two diplomatic sources cited by Axios, Iran is trying to prevent the war from spreading and seeking to help Israeli civilian hostages being held in Gaza. But if military operation continues and Israel goes ahead with a ground offensive, Iran will have to respond. Now, I want to make this clear. He did not say Hezbollah will have to respond. He said Iran will have to respond. Hezbollah is already there responding. So this is Iran's clear red line. And there are two nations that I think their red lines are really red lines. Iran and North Korea. And I think their red lines are red lines. I think if you just bust right through those red lines, it's going to be a FOFO moment. And I really do think that's what we're looking at. Says here there is still a political opportunity to prevent a widespread crisis in the region, the minister noted, but maybe in the next few hours it will be too late. This week, the top Iranian diplomat visited Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, where he met with Hezbollah leader Sayed Hassan Nasrallah, as well as senior Lebanese officials to discuss the potential outcome and the positions that must be taken in light of the war. It says in a meeting with Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdallah Habib, Amir Abdallahian had accused Israel of war crimes against the people of Gaza and repeated his warning that if Israel does not stop, any possibility is conceivable. Abu Habib backed his counterpart, saying that Lebanon has never wanted or sought war, and warning that further escalation will ignite the region and threaten security and peace in it. We are in solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and call for an end to the siege and the delivery of aid to Gaza, Bu Habib stressed. Hezbollah fighters are on full alert along the Lebanon border and have been exchanging sporadic fire with Israel since last Saturday's Hamas incursion that left at least 1,300 Israeli civilians and soldiers dead. And from my understanding, they're putting a bunch of rockets in. It says the Iran-backed group this talks about it is considered a major threat to Israel as it possesses some 150,000 rockets and missiles, including precision-guided missiles that can reach anywhere in Israel, as well as thousands of battle-hardened fighters and various types of military drones. Okay, now, this is Hezbollah that has this. All right? Hezbollah has the rockets and missiles. They're already in the fight. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And this is saying that Iran's red line is if they move in on the ground invasion. If they move in ground invasion, then it's game on for Israel. They've already got Hezbollah, right? I really think the Hezbollah has been reserved because I think they're waiting for that ground. I think there's a whole lot of people waiting for that ground invasion, and that's on the south side, I think. Yeah, that's in the south, if I'm not mistaken. To the north, what is that, Syria? And you got Damascus right there, not too far northeast, I believe. And, that's not a big area there. Not a big area. That's a lot of people with some really big guns in a small area. It's crazy. Let's see. Okay, that's about all. And then this last one, though. Now, this last story. Hang on, because we got to discuss it. So, imagine a conversation between two people. And one of them asks a basic question. One guy's going on a flight, and one guy asks a basic question. Are you going to make your connecting flight? Well, and the other guy says, it depends. Explosive adult diaper grounds flight. A Copa Airlines flight to Florida was ordered to return to Panama City when a suspected bomb was reported in the airplane bathroom, only for the suspicious object to be revealed as an adult diaper. Panama's National Police revealed on X on Friday, about an hour after taking off from the Tocumen International Airport headed for Tampa at 9:36 local time. The flight was ordered back to Panama. After landing, it was moved to an isolated area of the tarmac and emptied of its 144 passengers. Explosives teams searched the plane for the suspicious object, only to find an adult diaper wrapped in a black plastic bag was responsible for the trouble. We had it on a secure runway where police, special explosives canine units, and special forces examined the object. The dogs kind of kept, no, man, I don't want to smell that, man. The hell are you doing? No, I don't want to smell that. And found it to be an adult diaper, ruling out any risk. Jose Castro, head of the airport security team with Panama Civil Aeronautics Authority, wrote in a post on X. Authorities subsequently ruled out any kind of threat. Copa Airlines said in a statement. Passengers then reboarded the same airplane, which took off again around 2 p.m. and landed in Florida without further incident at 6:54 p.m. local time. Tampa International Airport's communications manager confirmed. So you will be all happy to know that your skies are safe, as they're so ever vigilant for adult diapers. Okay. Do some headlines and run out the door screaming their hair's on fire and stuff. The neighbors love it. Entertainment for weeks. Alright, I got one from last night. All the rest are that I put out this morning. So, the one from last night, U.S. sends second aircraft carrier to Israel's aid. I wanted to make sure to get that one in there. But if I'm not mistaken, there's actually like 4 of them in the area. So I don't know if that makes 4 or if that makes 5. I'm not sure. Because, they're not really... When they talk about the carrier groups, I haven't seen them really talk about all of them. They'll talk about one area of them. So when they're saying second aircraft carrier, that's most likely to an area where there's currently an aircraft carrier. They have aircraft carriers, I believe, in a couple other locations as well, just in different seas, but not far away. Remember, the area that we're talking about is not real big. Let's see. IDF denies striking Gaza evacuation convoys on purpose. Russia's oil revenues surge, says IEA, which, by the way, that last one confirms to you that they have struck evacuation convoys. They're just saying it's not on purpose. Just want to point that out. Russia's oil revenues surge, says IEA. Iran warns Israel of regional... Oh, I read that one. British shoppers limit spending. Who isn't? Ukraine's counteroffensive has completely failed, says Putin. Bloomberg estimates economic cost of Iran-Israel... I'm adding words, letters, and everything else in. Iran-Israel conflict. Partnership with Russia is a national interest for Hungary, says FM. FM Radio 99.3. You owe us, Ukrainian Foreign Minister to Germany. I'm sure that they're gonna really bow down to you. Putin says what he thinks of Z. Well, good for him. It's good to get your feelings out. Syria accuses Israel over Aleppo airport strike. Israel postpones... Oh, I covered that earlier. Western partners losing focus on aiding Ukraine, says finance minister. Well, yeah, they got another war they can finance. Afghanistan shaken by another powerful quake. They've been having quite a few powerful quakes as of recent. I think that would make number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Putin names common goal of BRICS countries. Baltic states overtake Italy as Russia's largest wine supplier, says media. Kiev wants to call up all conscripts for quote-unquote papers checks. Papers, please. Papers, please. I ain't got any papers. I use a pipe. Ex-German chancellor unapologetic about friendship with Putin. U.S. and Qatar in talks for release with Hamas hostages, says Financial Times. Let's see. McDonald's subsidiaries take sides in Israel-Gaza war. So yes, they chose the side of Israel, offering all IDF soldiers meals on the house. So... Iran, a Nazi regime, says Israel. I'm sure that Ben & Jerry's is going to give, free ice cream to all of Hamas. That's going to be the next thing. And going to be the next escalation. Let's see. Iran, a Nazi regime, says Israel. EU reveals position on Israel-Gaza war. Oh, I read that one, though. FBI, I read that one. secret KGB documents reveal horror crimes of Ukrainian Nazi. Pro-EU parties, where did it go? Pro-EU parties claim Polish election victory. Read that one. EU boss raises alarm about fresh migrant wave. And that's it. I read the rest. Like I say, just keep your eyes on this. I am very concerned, and I'll say that I am very concerned. Am I scared? Am I freaking out? Am I going? Oh? I only joke about it. And to be honest, a lot of times if I do get a little bit overwhelmed, I use humor. That's a way that that's my coping mechanism. I've got a pretty I was trying to say sick and twisted at the same time, and it doesn't work. I've got a pretty sick and twisted sense of humor, and it's very, very therapeutic. It is, and sometimes you get to see it here. Not as I'm not the same guy necessarily that does the news show as I am just in general conversation and stuff. I'm much, much, much goofier in person and joke around a lot more in person than I do like with this show, because my favorite thing has always been to be able to make other people smile and laugh. I don't know. That is, that's a skill that comes in handy a lot. Anyway, just keep at it, getting ready. Don't let it freak you out too bad. Understand that we are in a pretty sticky spot. And even though that's way over there, I'm not at this particular moment in time. I am not super concerned about an attack by lone wolves or small groups here in the United States. Because if it was going to happen, it would have probably already happened a long time ago. But I do think as that situation escalates, so will the likelihood of something like that happening, especially in one of the major metropolitan cities. And Lord knows what it could be. My big suspicion, my guess of what is most likely would be a radiological dirty bomb. That's what I think is probably most likely. I hate to say all we can do is wait and see, but my crystal ball's broke and Amazon will not return it. So, like I say, just keep getting ready, keep watching the situation. If your plans are to go somewhere, you're gonna bug out, that is your plan, do yourself a favor and don't wait too long. Now, the reason I'm saying this now, I'm not telling you go. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't wait too long. Me nor anybody else may be able to tell you it's go time. You may have to come to that conclusion on your own. And that's why I'm urging people to do that. If you feel more comfortable going, go. Even right now, I would say if that's how you honestly feel, and it would put your mind at ease to get out of Dodge, get out of the city, or whatever your situation is, go. As long as it isn't going to cause you a bunch of hardships, lose jobs, cause big major problems, as long as nothing like that's going to happen, go. And go enjoy yourself. Go enjoy yourself. Treat it as a vacation, camping trip. Just don't wait too long. I'm so worried that a lot of people are going to wait too long. So I don't think now's that time. but they may not be able to tell you now's that time. And that's one of my big concerns. So I'm concerned that nobody is really going to be able to get that out. So I think when things do really go sideways, I think it's going to happen pretty quick. But I'm talking really sideways. I'm not talking just really screwed up. We're not too really screwed up yet. We're getting there. But really sideways is across the fence yet. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. I appreciate you coming tonight. I hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.